Monday morning, everyone, and it's Memorial Day, so we do honor all of those for our country. That is what today is about, so make sure that you have a memory of them or give them special honor today. But you are listening to Author Talk because we don't take a day off, you guys, or Monday off. So it's me, Aimee, Russell, Valerie, and our lovely two guests today, our Bram Stoker nominees, Meg Hafdahl and Kelly Florence. So hey, welcome. Welcome, you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, absolutely. So as on cue, my kids are going to enter the room.
Yeah. Always the best part of the show.
And never fails. Never fails.
He's wet. Anyways, let's talk about the weekend, you guys, because I can do that with this one here. So my mom and one of my sisters, my number 3 sister, because I have 3 and I number them, came to visit with her 3 kids, and they all just kind of played and hang around. And so this is, for me, right? So I officially have the closing date on my house. It will be June 10th. Okay. It's yay. We're counting down its fabulousness. So for me, my family, my mom and my sister were the first ones from my family to actually get to go see my house. So and that's exciting for me. I know it's a corny thing, but it's exciting for them to like come and see it. They don't come and visit very often. Life is chaotic, as we all know, right? So it's exciting and it's fun and it's just a wonderful thing. And so now I've been looking at dining tables and all this crazy stuff. And I'm going to drag Josh out here in a little bit because he is pulling his weight today and packing up my garage because I have packed up most of the inside of the house. So he's packing up the garage, okay? So that's just how we are rolling. And I'm going to pull him out and we're going to go look at some dining tables and stuff like that later today. I
cannot think of a worse nightmare. The only thing worse than shopping for dining tables might be, as a fiance, going to look at stuff to list for the wedding shower. That's the only thing that I can imagine is worse.
Hey, it comes with the territory. Too bad.
What a nightmare.
Well, we're actually looking at refinishing one. So I want to go look at that one that we're going to refinish because Josh likes doing that. And I like bossing him around and telling him what stain I want. So, you know, that's generally kind of how we're flowing over here. But we're just in countdown mode for that. I took Josh to the house last Friday. I think it was Friday. And he's the one that sent the reminder to our project manager about all our big punch list items. Because
that's very good. You should.
Well, it's because the last time I did, they all paused and the electricians haven't been back for a month, right? And I'm still waiting on my fixtures. So, you know, it's supposed to all happen this week, you guys. Just everything's going to happen this week. Just saying. So, yeah, I'm going to have a mini heart attack, but it's all good. It's all good. But what did everybody else do this weekend?
Somebody
Who wants to go?
I'll go because go Kelly, go. Okay. You're the guest, and Meg.
Thank you. Yeah. So I had a low-key weekend, thankfully. No plans. My son and I are binge watching Arrested Development. He's never seen it before, and we're on season 4 now. So we've just been having a chill weekend.
Nice. Mm-hmm. I love that. That show's a classic. I love that show.
I on Saturday it was our travel day back from, it was our 20th wedding anniversary.
Oh, good.
We were in Sonoma and we were enjoying wine and just like chilling for the week. So we came back on Saturday was our travel day and we got home at like very early in the morning yesterday. And so you know how it is when you come back from a trip and like you're like, where am I and what's going on? So I'm still kind of in that mode.
Nice. So Meg, did you mountain bike while you were in Sonoma on those famous flat mountains?
No, we went hiking. We hiked the Jack London State Park. My favorite part of the whole trip. Oh, no mountain biking. We were probably too inebriated.
Okay. That's a fun, real answer.
I love
like
it.
that.
That's
a fun, real answer.
Hey, safety first.
That's
No,
a fabulous answer.
not the Sonoma Outback. It's not safety first.
I love it.
I remember our guide when we were mountain biking those beautiful mountains in Sonoma. He had fallen and knocked out all of his front teeth the week before, and he was still guiding us. Unbelievable. He was like 22 years old. Of course, 22-year-old dudes are stupid anyway, but that's another story.
Yeah.
That had to hurt to knock out all your front teeth. Like my mouth hurts now.
I know,
My mouth
right?
is hurting.
Terrible.
I'm
just thinking of the dental bill. Jeez.
I know that's what you would think, Valerie, because you have a 20-year-old son. So
yeah. You know, I go in mom mode,
bills.
like going, how much is that going to cost? I don't know.
Right. Okay. For my weekend, I have two parts to my weekend. The first part, I've been married 41 years. My wife's birthday is tomorrow, so this was her birthday weekend. For 40 years, I have been a bad husband and was like, you don't get weekends. This year, after 41 years, I finally came to my senses. My wife wants a weekend of a birthday, so I gave it to her.
It's about damn time. You made her wait 41 years. That is a patient woman.
Stupid man.
You said that, not me. You said that.
But so we had this great weekend. We went down to the Beltline in Atlanta, which is kind of a hipster, really cool place to be. And we had some Asian street food that was so good. Soup dumplings, not as good as we got in Shanghai, but great soup dumplings. And soup dumplings is, I kind of
nothing's going to be as good as from Shanghai. I mean,
know.
You can't compare apples to apples there.
No. We had drinks on the riverbank of the Chattahoochee River at the Canoe, which is a very romantic, very cool place. We've had a great weekend. We played pickleball all weekend, so we had a great weekend. Also, last week, the thing I want to talk about is Mickey Mickelson, who is also the PR people for these two wonderful guests of ours. I am, thanks to Aimee, a new client of his, and I got to tell you, this guy, when he turns it on, is on fire. He worked me to death last week just with, you need to do this, you need to do this. And it was all incredible stuff, like 4 interviews scheduled in like 3 days. The guy is amazing. I wanted to praise the man, right? I'm like Brutus in Shakespeare's Caesar. I come to praise the man, not to bury him.
There you go. That's all. Anyway. That's all we need there.
I like it.
What'd you do, Valerie?
You
already talked about it.
No, it was quite busy because we were actually celebrating David's birthday too, which was yesterday. So we started on Thursday, and then we headed up to Galveston. We had been invited to try this new restaurant on the seawall, which was outstanding. And then we came home. And then we went to Misfits Boxing on Saturday. I have never been to a live boxing match, and we got ringside seats. So incredible experience. Just it was female and male boxing. So
did you get any blood on you?
No, but there was a lot of blood going on from people. When it happened, boom, it happened. It was always from their nose.
Does that happen? Do people really get blood on them?
Yes.
I can't believe that sport. It makes my body hurt. That's my body hurt.
I was just fascinated by their endurance and their just like speed and just like wow, just like toughness. And then what else yesterday? We went to the Roughnecks game. Never been to a Roughnecks game. We're gonna do like all these things on the first. So
what is the Roughnecks? What is
that's
that?
the USL football.
Yeah, owned by The Rock. So, but we only made it to halftime because it was like 108 degrees. And we're like, okay, good. We got it. We got the gist. It was good football. We got our fix for the spring so we can hold up to the fall. So a lot of good first, good dinners, good food, good experiences. What else can I ask for?
Oh my goodness.
We need to thank everyone that's listening to us on our podcast. Most people listen to us during the week, driving to work or working out. We're very grateful. We're top 10 independent book podcast in America, and we're very grateful about it. Aimee, how do they find us?
Yes. Okay, you guys, it's Aimee's time to pick on Russell because Russell could not find us for the longest damn time. Now he can find us. So if he can find us, literally, I feel like a squirrel can find us. Okay. So you're going to go anywhere that you can find a podcast. So Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, Good Pods, all these other ones that I haven't mentioned. Those are just my go-to ones. Type in AuthorTalk and look for the crimson, red, and gold logo because I say this every week. I was selfish and picked those amazing colors because they're my favorite.
You know, you were not selfish.
I was.
Because your whole reprogramming worked, and on all the parameters that we seek that we reach further, everything's worked. So you weren't selfish.
Well, I'm selfish on the colors because the colors are my favorite. It was not a marketing ploy. They're just my favorite colors together. So that's how I was selfish. But I will say I'm jealous of Mickey because Mickey can get you to do stuff. But when your publisher sends you stuff and then she has to resend it because she's given you a week and it still isn't done. I'm just saying. I'm going to put it out there. I'm just saying it.
Okay, I get stuff on Friday afternoon before Memorial Day. No. I'll do it today. I'm just saying.
Russell, but you're lying because I sent it to you
lying.
Like a week ago.
Of course I'm lying.
And then I sent it to you again earlier in the week and then on Friday. Okay, so to be fair in my defense, okay, because you're a lawyer. This is my defense. Okay, I sent it to you several times before Friday.
Win. Valerie, change the subject, please.
It happens like that sometimes, Aimee.
He can't handle it. He can't handle it. Oh my goodness. No, let's get Kelly and Meg talking about their latest 2 books that are coming out, and they are Bram Stoker nominees. I'm going to say this entire time because I don't feel 2 better people deserve that nomination or to win, in my opinion, than you guys. Your books, I'm not even gonna lie, Meg, when I read your book, Her Dark Inheritance, it scared the crap out of me. It was like, and to an extent, it's scarier than a Stephen King's book for me. So you guys together, I have to read your stuff in doses. Okay, so I don't have nightmares and stuff. It's in doses. No. Okay, but
just read it in the daylight.
Oh, I know. Oh, I love it though. So no, let's get them talking about all their fabulous works of writing creativity. Go, Valerie.
First of all, this is not y'all's first rodeo hitting a book at all. Can you just give us a little background for it in case people haven't met you or read your stuff before? Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Sure. So we are best friends for over 20 years. We met because we both love the X-Files TV show, and it's been an amazing journey because we both loved horror so much. So we started a podcast called Horror Rewind, where we were talking about horror movies that we loved from our childhood. And that progressed into, we should be writing about this through the lens of science. And we wrote about the science of horror. We started with monsters. We've done Stephen King, Agatha Christie, witchcraft, serial killers. And coming up this fall, our new book, The Science of Alfred Hitchcock, is coming out. Ooh. And while we were doing book tours for all of these books, we realized we were traveling and we need to write about that. Meg, do you want to say how we got the next book born?
Yeah, so we realized when we were traveling to do like book tours, to do talks on our Science of series. Also, when we were just traveling like for fun, we realized that we would go to do spooky things because that's what we love to do. So we were like, hey, how can we turn this into a book? And so we cooked up a proposal for our agent and said, hey, what would it be like if we could go to 12 different cities across the US and sort of go with the lens of, how we as best friends would approach the city and look for kind of the hidden gems of, you know, everybody knows kind of the typical places to go. And we hit on some of the typical places, like we go to Salem and talk about some of the places you probably have heard of. But we also go to cities like Providence, Rhode Island. We go to a small town in Ohio called Athens. We talk about, you know, what would a spooky Gothic person like lover like us do in Atlanta, Georgia, or Marietta, Georgia, actually, to be more specific. So it kind of was, you know, born out of what do we love to do? Where do we want to eat? Where do we want to shop? What do we want to do to spend our day? What museums would we like to go to? And we also, you know, we're big on uplifting women and authors. So we talk about women who either in history who maybe you haven't heard of that have kind of a spooky connection, or maybe women who are of current times who maybe you haven't heard of, who have a spooky connection. So it has been such a delight, and like we got to do it with each other, and we got to travel, and like it was so fun. What a great excuse to call it work.
And if I recall, this isn't your first Bram Stoker nomination. Is that correct?
We were nominated for The Science of Women in Horror. That was our Bram Stoker nomination. Oh,
gotcha. So I'm so excited to be speaking with like-minded people, because I adore horror. I adore it. And my new favorite author right now is Grady Hendrix, and just like, oh, he just takes it to another level. So, but just embracing, you know, y'all's love for it. Excuse me. And then just, you know, you sharing that with other people like myself. How is the response been to some of y'all's work?
You know, we have heard from so many people that this has been a gateway into the horror genre for them. And so we love that, because a lot of people are like, no, I don't read horror. I don't like to be scared. And then we say, well, we're writing, you know, in this nonfiction lens, and you can read about it, and then maybe you can watch the movie. And people have done that, and we love bringing them in. And then, of course, when we wrote about serial killers, we got some true crime people to realize, hey, this is horror. And also Agatha Christie.
I was going to say my favorite has been Agatha Christie, because Agatha Christie on its face, a lot of people would say like, oh, that's not horror. And it's funny how people who would maybe see me and Kelly like at a book event setting up our books, and we've got our like black dresses on, and you know, they might see something bloody, they'd be like, oh no, that's not for me, that's not for me. People have a really I'm sure you've found this, Valerie, like people have a very immediate reaction to horror sometimes. They're just like, oh no, you know. And it's like, okay, fine. And horror is that one genre where people feel very good about expressing that they don't like it, you know. It's like no, that's not for me, like I'm better than that or whatever. It's like, okay, that's fine.
But I'm sorry, but the thing, like you were saying, just like exploring the whole gamut of the Agatha Christie, you know, Stephen King or whatever. It's not just one thing. It's just delving into different types of storytelling, which I feel like the fact that y'all are exposing this and sharing it is an incredible thing.
So it's been so fun to do like library events, and those women or people who maybe would be very turned off by the word horror, they love a good Agatha Christie murder. They sure come around when Agatha Christie poisons somebody. So I love that. They don't like the idea of horror, but if Agatha Christie killed somebody, they love it. So we've been meeting new types of people, which is really cool, and we're getting them into our web, which I love, because it's like, okay, maybe you didn't like the Science of Monsters cover, but now that we're doing Agatha Christie, we have you. So it's kind of fun to kind of get some new fans into our fold. So with the travel book, hopefully we'll get some new types of fans, and with Alfred Hitchcock, hopefully we'll get some cinephiles who maybe haven't noticed our books before, and only like snooty films, and and are like, no, we don't like slashers, and hopefully they'll really love the research we've done about Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh yes.
Okay, can I ask a question, Valerie?
Absolutely, go ahead.
She's torturing me about Alfred Hitchcock. So give us one really interesting fact that when you started working on the Alfred Hitchcock thing, you did not expect but found.
Well, let's see. I really like biography. Like, obviously it's called The Science of Alfred Hitchcock. So obviously there's like scientific facts. But I'm a biography nerd. So, something I found really interesting about him is that he has a background in, like art, and he has a background in, like ad copy, and he did a lot of like drawing, and he did a lot of like oh, what do you call it, when you know I can't think of the word, but like not when you make like stuff for advertising. And so he actually drew his own, you know, the Alfred Hitchcock profile we all know, he actually drew that, which I thought was really cool. So I thought that was really neat, and it actually helped with all of his wonderful eye for filmmaking. And so that's really how he started. He started out in film, first in the art department, very lowly, basically like putting together the titles for the silent films and putting the words on the black and white. And I just thought that was really cool.
A couple of the things that we discovered too in our research, science-wise, we had written about previously, like the two of our favorite movies, The Birds and Psycho. We talked about the science of and history of what inspired those, even though he didn't write, he's not the source material, but actual birds did attack people because of the certain fruits that they were eating. And that's terrifying to anybody, to be attacked by a bird, especially Meg, because she's scared of birds. And then also taxidermy. We learned about the science of taxidermy when we were researching Psycho, and the horror of they taxidermied a human person and brought him around the country in like a circus. And that's real horror to us.
Yeah, there was this, for some reason I'm forgetting words today. I think it was the trip to Sonoma. Yes. There was this a thing that birds ate. Kelly, help me with words. Germ,
I don't know what you're.
Not a germ, but like a
bacteria.
Bacteria. Thank you. I've only written how many books about science. I really seem like an authority. There was this bacteria that birds ate, seagulls, in a California town, that had come from the ocean, and it had basically made them crazy, and they started sort of dive bombing this town. And yes, there is a Daphne du Maurier story called The Birds, that was taken from, for source material as well. But this happened, I think, about 2 years before the film. And really, the birds were kind of just dying. They were just kind of coming and dive bombing and dying. But it's a fascinating, I mean, I would feel like they're coming to kill me. I would certainly dramatize it in my mind. And so that news story plus the du Maurier story sort of is what, you know, kind of became The Birds. And so we love all that kind of stuff, and we get into the bacteria and stuff like that. So it's cool.
That is so awesome. And so, can you tell us, it says here, like the featured cities, are those the stories that are, these cities that are in this first edition, right?
Oh, in the travel book?
The travel book, yeah. So we traveled to 12 different cities, and everywhere from Portland, Oregon to Salem, Massachusetts, down to Florida, Texas, Georgia, and a bunch of states in between.
How did you choose all that, or did they come to you? How did that happen? Because I know like you were just saying, some places just have the most random history, and you're like, wow, that's a cool story.
You know, like, for example, Athens, Ohio, it was not on our radar as we have to go there, but we were talking to friends who about this book that, we're writing this and we're looking at cities to go to. And they said, you have to go to Athens. because of this one place that was an old sanitarium. And they're like, it's abandoned and it's so creepy. And we're like, and we started doing some research and we realized there's a lot more there that we can write about. And thankfully we were able to get a private tour, places that the public isn't allowed in. And it was creepy and it was absolutely worth it.
Yeah.
I think just talking to people was the big thing for us.
Yeah. Like that was like our one huge takeaway is like rideshare drivers. They tell you where to go. They tell you like the neat places, the haunted places. Also, when we were in Athens, that is where is it Ohio State University, Kelly? Am I saying that right?
Ohio University.
Ohio University. We got to talk to some college students there. We got to put on kind of a talk about writing, and college students had so many great haunted ghost stories to tell us. Nice. So that was really fun. And also college students know some really cool hidden gems as well. So getting to talk to people, I think, is kind of, I mean, in 2024, obviously social media is huge, and you can Google cool places to go, obviously. But I think that we don't want to lose that idea of safely traveling and like meeting people and discussing local areas. And I mean, Kelly and I have met so many characters in our travels, and like those are just awesome memories. And like just it's such a neat experience to meet local people, and like going on ghost tours and having those experiences of meeting the ghost tour leaders. It's something that I think it's easy to sort of go to a new city and get intimidated and sort of isolated, but we kind of want to encourage people like ourselves who like books and who maybe like stick to themselves. We want to encourage them to like go do activities and really like put themselves out there and travel and go to the cemeteries they want to go to and see the cool stuff that of history and Gothic things that we like. So we're really hoping this book resonates with creepy girls like us.
So were most of these based on just like leads or folklore or myths or legends? How did you choose to maybe like incorporate these certain stories into your book?
Yeah, we ended up breaking every chapter down into exactly what you're talking about. We talk about the most famous true crime that happened there, a woman that you should know, where you should eat, where you should stay, where you should drink, where you should shop, and then getting into the local lore and legends, and if they had, you know, a sort of a swamp creature that people wrote about or think exists there. We did the research on that. And then, of course, because we're such book and movie people, we also wrote about movies and books that are set in that either that state or that town specifically, so people can see like, oh, this is where Nightmare on Elm Street was shot or filmed or where it was based. And we love that because as goth girls who like to travel, we always are going to filming sites anyway. And so it just made sense.
Yeah, like our first big trip together over 20 years ago, we went to look at X-Files sites where they filmed X-Files, and that was before like GPS or anything, and so we used an actual map. And Kelly was the driver and I was the navigator, and you know, we would like, you know, pin it on the map, on the paper map. And so it's so great now that, you know, technology has moved forward. We don't have to do that anymore. But so this is really like earnestly who we are and what we do for fun. So I think that comes through, you know, on the page that this is what we do for kicks.
I have to mention the funny story about no GPS on our first trip. We were in Vancouver, British Columbia, and it wasn't Meg's fault. Maybe it was. Maybe she gave me the wrong turn. But I was driving. We ended up crossing the border back into the United States. And I'm like, I'm sorry. We just need to turn around and go back. And they said, what's your citizenship? I said, I'm American. She's Canadian because we had a Canadian friend with. And she's got dual citizenship, meaning Meg, because she was born in Canada. And they're like, just go. They believed us. I mean, it was true, but they let us go.
This was a long time ago when you could just be 3 girls who got mixed up and go accidentally across the border, and then they say, oh, whatever.
I can see that. That would be me. That would be me.
Yeah. I don't know if they'd be so great now. I don't know if they'd be so lenient now. But.
Russell, you had a question?
I do. I noticed earlier Meg used the word safe when she was talking about traveling. That actually pricked my attention. Was there any place that you wrote about or you decided to edit out that you were traveling for your book and was not quite permissible?
You know, what we ended up doing is we've realized very quickly, first of all, talking to people, and secondly, just getting the vibe of an area. We're like, oh, this isn't a safe place to walk. And so we encourage people in our book, we walked, but you should probably take a ride share. And then in another part of Vegas, we were walking to a place and we were getting tired, and we're like, maybe let's take a ride share the rest of the way. And the driver who picked us up said, if you had walked the rest of the way, that is bad news. You have to tell people not to walk in that area. We're like, okay, see, good to know. This is why you talk to people.
Yeah, we were, there were times where we would look at each other and go, oh, because, thankfully we were always together. But we felt like it is definitely a duty, because this book is for everyone, but we feel like we definitely have a fan base of particularly women and particularly younger women. And we are definitely encouraging women to travel either together but also by themselves. And so we feel like a very strong sense of, a duty to them to be very honest. So there's a part in the book where we're like, we were in a part of Portland where we soon realized not okay. And we very quickly called an Uber, and that's how we dealt with that situation. Thankfully we saw a cop car and we realized, that he was there, thankfully. But those things are going to come up. So it's something we actually are very honest about in the book. Was
there any particular story that really stood out that you're like, so glad we included this because it is a really phenomenal, catcher, just something that's really going to stop your heart?
Well, there is, and I won't give it away entirely, but let's say Meg and I went into this book and in our lives, not really believing, love scary stuff, but we're like, yeah, we'll see. If something happens, whatever. Yeah. We'll see what we believe. And something very scary happened that I wrote about. I am now a believer.
Wow.
And it wasn't part of a tour or anything. We were just in our hotel room and I saw something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, I got the chills. Which is what you want when you're talking about stuff like this, because it's like a little adrenaline rush, right?
Yeah.
We're I guess I don't want to say cynics, but even though we're creepy girls, we love everything scary. I wouldn't necessarily say we're big believers in ghosts. But I slept through it. But poor Kelly didn't, and she's a changed woman, and seeing what she went through obviously has definitely changed me. So you don't, I guess we messed with too many ghosts.
Well, I think doing this kind of research too and everything, it gives you the background to say yes, this is completely valid, or that might or might not have happened. And that's the whole point of horror, because it puts you on the edge of maybe this could happen, especially true crime, Alfred Hitchcock, the Agatha Christie, but then, you pull in the fantasy aspect of the other authors and stories, and you're just like, is this true? Is it a legend or what? But I love that you guys had the chance to go and experience it and see it for yourselves and share that with us. I'm sure, have you had any feedback yet on this?
Yeah, we've had some feedback. And the thing that we've learned from a lot of people is they don't necessarily, again, believe in ghosts, but they believe there's something. And even through our science books, we've realized there is some sort of energy there. And you can feel the vibe of a place. Like, this feels wrong, or this is a peaceful place, or whatever it is. And I think universally we can agree. And so we've gotten a lot of feedback, people being like, you know what, I am more open to this now. And maybe it is science-based.
I feel like the older I get, like, the less rigid I am about that stuff. I was like very much X-Files reference. I was very much a Scully, and like I'm becoming more of a Mulder as I get older, because I'm like, I feel like there's less and less I actually know about what's going on. Like, the older you get, the more you realize, like, the less you know. And I feel like, well, like, for instance, to reference a winery I was just at, it was the winery is in an old, it was the first hospital in Sonoma, and it was for wayward women, which was probably like women who like to like read novels or something, like, women who didn't listen to their husbands or something. Yes. And so the guy working there was like, yeah, I was a little nervous about, like, being alone in there, like, ghost wise, but he's like, it's such good energy. And I went in there and it was such good energy. And we've all walked into a room and I feel like every human being has walked into a room and felt like energy, and I don't know what that is. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything, but I think we've all walked into a room and felt like, ooh, I don't like the feel in this room. I don't know why.
No.
It makes me feel icky or something.
Well, and that's what, you're saying, like, the X-Files, it's just a lot of unexplained. And so that's pulling from these, excuse me, just pulling from all these stories that you guys have and discovered and researched. That's just researching the unexplained and making it come to life, and then allowing your reader to go explore on their own, and even like I was thinking back when I did a ghost tour in New Orleans, and the really, really bad evil house where Johnny Depp bought it and Nicolas Cage and whatever. And that one, just feeling that, it's just standing there and you're listening to the stories and you're like, you can feel there's like some weird energy coming off that house. Just like, it's just creepy. It's just creepy. And, that might have happened here, and it might, and the fact that it might have, that's creepy enough when they tell, all the details. So when you're going and researching these places, that's what people want to know. And I think that's so great that y'all been able to do this.
Oh, thanks. Kelly will just have to have nightmares for the rest of her life, but it was birthday, right, Kelly?
Just like, seriously, walking from my living room down the dark hallway to my bedroom at night, I picture scary things. It's fine. I'm fine.
And I am not one for scary movies that are demonic. I can do anything else, but anything like that's kind of like, no, thank you. That's too possibly real. And that's where I kind of draw the line. So I'll go anything imaginary or whatever. But when it comes to stuff like that, I'll be like, let me just have a little holy water next to my bedside or something, because that, you never know. Things really get crazy.
Real. Yeah.
Well, we wrote about and we visited the Amityville Horror House, where that was based. Yeah. And I mean, real horror happened there. And then, of course, the family moved in and had all of those occurrences. But I think just being there, we were just on the sidewalk and it was like, oh, this is the house. And you could feel, and those eyes, those windows that look like eyes. Yeah, it was creepy.
It is. Yeah. And then we went to like the graves after, and it was just like, it felt like a big bummer. It was like, let's go have a palate cleanser after that.
Cover with a circle of salt and you're good.
Yeah, seriously.
Russell, you had some questions?
Do you still do your podcast?
Yes. So we're on a hiatus right now because we're switching over to video.
Right.
Podcast,
and you're working hard on your book and your promotion. It's like a full-time job.
Oh, yes. We keep busy. Our motto is we'd rather be busy than bored. So we're always working on something.
And Kelly actually has a full-time job as a professor. So,
that's kind of why I made that phrase, because you have like 3 full-time jobs now.
Exactly.
You have your writing and research, you have your regular job, and then you have your promotion. So you're right at 3 jobs right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
very
if someone
busy.
wanted to write a book like what you did, what is the first thing you would recommend? If someone's listening, they would love to write something like this. What's the first thing you recommend they do?
Well, I think if they could take anything from what Kelly and I were saying is that we write about what we love. Don't worry about like what you think is going to sell or what you think, you know, an agent wants or a publisher wants. Kelly and I came from what we absolutely are passionate about. So that's your first thing.
And I think we can easily tell right away if we're not excited about it,
Yeah.
why will someone else be? Or again, that energy, the tone of we went to this place and it was blah. Nope, we're not going to write about it then.
Yeah, yeah.
Was there some of those places?
Yeah, I think that we ran into some places and it's like, this was recommended. And it's like, that wasn't so great. Never mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, you know, if nonfiction is your thing, you know, nonfiction's a great way to sort of start, I think, especially in the world we live in now, where you can start like on social media, blogging about things or talking about things, tweeting about things, TikToking about things, Instagramming about things, and really like, if like, for instance, like we are going to horror movies where I'm always reading horror books. If that's kind of like what you're doing, start talking about it. You know, I think a great way to like sort of engage a fandom of your own is to start talking about the books you're reading and the movies you're watching, and the start writing about, you know, doing posts about those things and engaging people and talking about them. And then maybe if, you know, you have an idea for, let's say, a nonfiction book about, you know, I want to write a book about the Halloween series and, you know, Jamie Lee Curtis or whatever. Then, you know, you've already kind of built up perhaps a social media. You know, that's a great way to sort of approach nonfiction right now. I'll be honest, when Kelly and I come into a meeting now in nonfiction, one of the first questions we get asked, unfortunately, is how many followers do you have? It sucks, but that's the reality. It doesn't mean that that's like the factor that makes a decision, because we've had many published books and we're not like, we don't have 1 million followers. So it's not like you have to be a millionaire follower person. But you know, it is something to think about, just sort of like engaging with people. And that's how you meet people too on social media who have small publishing houses and things like that. Just start engaging with people. Even if you're an introvert and a bookworm like me.
I think the big advice too, we just gave a group of writing students this advice, is just be authentic, be your authentic self, and don't try to change what you love or who you are in order to fit into a market that you think you have to be. Yeah. Just be you. And I think we all appreciate authenticity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. No, I love that, because that's what, when people come to me about social media help and those kinds of things, it's just be authentic and 100% who you are, and don't do things just to drive numbers and tractions. Numbers will come, right? But you don't want to get on there and do a facade and kind of stuff, because to keep that up is exhausting. It's exhausting.
It is, yeah.
To do all of those things. But
truly, you can tell when someone's over curated too.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, I'm telling you. Yes.
Yeah.
100%. Mm-hmm. Keep it real and who you are. That's more what social media was kind of about anyways, and building relationships. So yes, Kelly, I love it. Oh my gosh, you guys, we could sit here and talk for hours. I love talking to you guys about all your stuff, though you guys give me the heebie-jeebies all the time. Okay. Because Kelly, I have not had the experience in which you have had, and I'm very grateful for that. But I also, when I turn the lights off, I haul ass to my bedroom down a dark hallway. I mean, it's just the dark hallway. You know, my house will be all, you know, secure and all this, but it's just the thought, you know, Nope, I've watched too many scary movies and read too many of y'all's books. So I just
Aimee, you can get those things where the lights turn automatically every time you enter a room. That would be your thing.
I should. I have a friggin' smart house thanks to Josh. I mean, Alexa turns my lights on and off. Okay, I could just turn them on, but for some reason I just haul it. I don't know. And if I'm in socks, I'm gonna fall and bust my ass on my floors. Like that's just what's going to happen. But no, oh my gosh, you guys, it's always so much fun to have you guys here on the show. You will have to come back. I know you guys are going to continue your writing venture, so come back anytime. It's just always exciting. So let's do closing questions, comments, statements. Russell, from you first.
Would you guys please tell us where the listeners can find you and your books?
Yes, so you can go to our website, horrorrewind.com, and you can see all of our books listed there. Anywhere you buy your books, Amazon. We're going to be in Target. We're in Barnes & Noble. And our websites are kellyflorence.com and meghafdahl.com.
Nice.
Very cool.
Valerie.
Yeah, so great talking to you guys. Just, keep up the great work, and we will be following you, watching your great progress.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, you guys. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm going to have to puppies and rainbows. That's my thing. But no, thank you guys so much for taking time out of your morning to come and hang out and talk to us. It's always such a delight, you guys.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So you guys, we hope you all have a great Memorial Day, a great rest of your week. And until next Monday and my countdown to my house and moving, we will catch you all then. Bye for now, everybody.